Hi everyone, welcome to data science tutorial series. In this we are using pandas as one of the means for doing data science activities. So in this video we are going to now concentrate on CrossTab. So let's first understand what is CrossTab and then we will do hands-on or a demo about using this CrossTab functionality of pandas. So what is CrossTab? So basically when we talk about statistics, typically a contingency table is made. It is also known as cross tabulation or a CrossTab in short. So it's a type of a table in a matrix format and it's going to display the frequency distribution of the variables. That means whatever the frequency you have, suppose if you have various data, then you want to take a look at the frequency distribution of those variables, then this CrossTab or cross tabulation approach is used. So what is it going to now help me? So it's going to provide me a basic picture of the interrelationship between two variables and then it can help me find interactions between them. So that means suppose if I have a good amount of data and now I want to basically calculate the frequency distribution of the variables, then I will make use of this approach and then I will try to understand the interrelationship between them. So again this approach is pretty much useful when we are trying to do the analysis of the data. So let's now try to understand what are we going to look into the demo, because this looks like a theoretical definition. So we will try to understand what we are going to do. So as part of the demonstration, we will read the data from a CSV file. Then we are going to create a cross tabulation or a basically cross tab with particular rows. That means we are going to select rows and columns and then we basically show that. Then we will create another cross tab with select rows and columns and we will show that. So basically we are going to create this say probably 2 times or say few times. Then we will add rows to that, we will add columns to that. Then we will also try to do the normalization so that we can try to say try to figure out say sort of percentage. So like that we can do. Then we will also take a look at how can I use numpy functions with the CrossTab. So overall this is going to be a pretty good demo because we are not just going to learn how do we create a CrossTab, but we are going to play with it. That means we are going to add rows, we are going to add columns, then we will normalize it, then we will also use some numpy functions. So let's go to the demo now. So I have just written a skeleton code of this so that we don't have to keep on typing. So here we are going to read a data, and now in this data basically we have a nationality data and which is basically of say from the data from the different nations, and where we have people divided into as man and woman, and then we will try to figure out whether they are left-handed or whether they are right-handed type of information. So here we have this. So these are the names of the people. Then we have this nationality, then the gender, then the age, and then the handedness. So that means whether they are right-handed or left-handed. So this is like a data. Now when I look at this data, then the normal question will be how many are right-handed, how many are left-handed, and whether the people from say India, are they more right-handed than say from another country, say Japan or say Bangladesh. Basically general we are trying to decipher as much information as possible, or say with respect to gender we can try to decipher. Okay, that means like we know that okay the female probably with this data that female are more females are right-handed than left-handed, like that. So point just I am trying to make, this is just a sample data. The concept has to be explained to all of you. That's why this data is taken. Now this data can be applied to as per your liking, or this approach can be applied to as per your liking, because it is now going to give us the sort of a frequency or the CrossTab which basically have seen. So let's now try to get into the other detail. So we are now basically going to create first of all a CrossTab, and what we will do, we are basically going to keep nationality on the x-axis and handedness, that means whether it is left or right handedness, as a y-axis or the columns. So let's first try to create this CrossTab. So the function that we are going to use is a CrossTab. So that's why the name is CrossTab. So here now we got the data. So now here, as I told you, on the x-axis we are keeping the nationality, that means the nation, and on the column side we are keeping the handedness. Here you can now get the data that for Bangladesh, left-handedness in the data that I have shown you above, there are 2 left-handedness, there is no right-handed. Then India 2, then Japan, Netherlands, and say USA 0, 2. So that means the way in which this basically CrossTab, or the way in which it pictorially we are seeing it. So you see this handedness, so left, right, that is the column, and then the nationality. So now it is very much clear from this, like we can do this analysis. So now we have currently doing nationality and then the handedness. So x-axis rows and the y-axis is a basically column. Now we'll try to do with respect to say gender. So we can have the CrossTab pd.crosstab, because we are using pandas, you already know. So this is that pd, pandas is pd, so we are doing pd.crosstab. Now if you want to get more details on the function CrossTab, so you can simply do shift tab. So if you do shift tab, you are going to get this help. If you just make it big, you are going to get all the data. So you can see computes a cross tabulation of 2 or more factors and all that. So all that help can be made available, and then it tells what are the various parameters that are available here. So we are going to use some of them, which basically help us to do our processing. So we will now do it with respect to gender. That means gender is on the row and column is the handedness. So let's now try to do that. So here now gender, that means there are 5 female who are basically left-handedness, and 2 are right, and males 2 and 4. So again I am talking with respect to the data that is shown earlier. Now we can calculate the total, that means we will make use of a margin. We know this approach. So margins is basically going to compute the total. So let's now try to use. So here we are using again gender and handedness, so same thing, and we are now going to make use of margin, so which is going to compute the total. So now we can see this. So here it has computed the total. 5 plus 2 is 7, 2 plus 4 is equal to 6, and then 7 plus 6 is 13. Similarly, so that means it has done row wise total and the column wise total. So we will see how does it help later. Then we can add. Now we already have this gender and handedness. Now I want to add. Now suppose if somebody says okay, now show me the data where there is say nationality, because now here there is no nationality, so I can't probably much make out from this data. So I can add a column. So how do I do? So basically I am now going to create row wise. I still want gender. However, as a column wise, now I am going to give a list. So list of 2 things, that means handedness and the nationality. So that's why you see here we have provided the list. So adding nationality, and then obviously we want margins to be true. So let's run this. So you now see this handedness, so left hand and right hand. Now we have added the nationality. So now we can see the difference. So here female, and then earlier we were only getting the left and right like that. So now you can see the distribution, that means how this is distributed across the nation. So here for left hand it is say 2 plus 1, 3 plus 1 plus 1, so it's 5. You see that answer is coming. Earlier we were having 5 here, so that 5 comes. Then 2. So here right handedness is basically here you can see this is India and Netherlands. So here 2. So total is 7. So 5 plus 2 is 7. So like that you can see the distribution, and that is what CrossTab allows me to see the distribution or the frequency in various ways. So we have added nationality, and then basically we are looking at the data now. So now if I want to add the nationality at the row level, because now I don't want to look with respect to say gender, but I want to take a look at say from with respect to the nationality, then nation will be the at the row level. So what I do, I am now having pd.crosstab. Now here I am going to put nationality as well as gender. So now both the things will come. So here I am providing the list, and then other is at a handedness. So that's okay. It's at the column level. and then the obviously we are keeping right now margin is equal to true. So let's now execute it. Here now you can see nationality, then the gender, and then the left and right. So then now we can see the difference. So say for example Bangladesh female, gender is female, left is 2, India female, left is 1, and then male, left is 1, similarly male is, right is 1 and female is 1. So that means now this is another way of looking at the data, and then from there you can basically make out you can make the decisions. Then if I want to add a percentage, so let's see now these are the things. Now I want to really do some data analysis. I want to basically figure out the percentage. So probably what I will do, I will have a gender and handedness, and then I will just say for the time being let me just make it true. Here I am going to get data. So this is the same thing which I have done earlier. Now I am going to make use of a normalize functionality that is part of this one CrossTab, Pandas CrossTab. So I am going to do that. So here it is gender, then handedness, and then the normalize is equal to index. That means I am now going to normalize the index. That means use normalize parameter with index to normalize at the row level. So I want to make use of this normalization at the row level. So let me just do that. So here now I can get the percentage. So why is it like that? So now here you can see 5 by 7 is 0.714, then 2 by 7 is 0.28, similarly 2 by 6 is 0.33, and then 4 by 6 is 0.667, so like that. So you can see this comes because we are doing it at the row level. That's why it is 5 by 7, 2 by 7, 2 by 6 and 4 by 6. So that's what basically the normalization we are doing with respect to the index. Obviously you can play with it, you can do it with some other data. Say here it is gender, handedness. Probably if you want to do it with age, which we have the data here. So for example here we were having it with respect to here age. So we have done that earlier. So like that we basically have say gender and handedness, then we have this gender and handedness nationality. So we can do as per our liking, and we can take a call. Now let's try to do it with respect to the we want to basically calculate the average age. So now we are going to make use of NumPy, and we want to calculate the average age of the say females, and we want to also calculate average age of the male, which are left-handed as well as the right-handed as per the data. So what we will do, we will have this gender and handedness. So that's our row wise gender, then handedness, and then the values is basically df.age. So that is the value, and on that we want to basically make use of a aggregate function, and there we are this aggregate function is going to is equal to np.average. That means I am going to use NumPy to calculate the average. So let me just run it. So now you got it. So here pd.crosstab. So you can see now this gender. So this is that gender. Then that means at the basically we know this is the female, that is the gender row wise. Then handedness is the column, so that is clear. Then the values are what age. So we wanted age to be there. However, we don't want the age the way in which we were showing it here earlier, because earlier when we were doing, we were having like this. So like nationality, gender, age, everything was coming. So I don't want it basically like this. I want to take I want to understand the average age. So for that, what do? I need to have a functionality or a mechanism to calculate average. So that is where NumPy is helping us. And on what values? So values is a df.age. So that means use the age column of the data frame. So that's why we are using data frames age, and it's now computing the average. So 32.4 is the average of left hand female, 22.5 is for right, and similarly for male 51 and 42 for right. So we can just quickly take a look at it. We can see it. So you can see this is the female, so probably 19, then 30, like that. So if you just do the average, you will get the answer that was shown in the in our calculation. So this is what basically the demo about the CrossTab. So in this demo we actually have seen how to make use of this CrossTab functionality. Then we have created multiple CrossTabs. That means we have selected rows, columns and all that we have done. Then we also added rows, we also added columns. Then we made use of the normalize functionality. We also made use of the margins, so which was computing the total. Then in the end we used the numpy function so that we can calculate the percentage. So this completes our CrossTab video. Thank you.